Most healthy eating advice out there is actually making it harder for you to be healthy. And I know that sounds backwards, but stick with me for 60 seconds, because once I show you what I mean, you'll never look at nutrition advice the same way again. So who am I, and why does this matter? I'm not here to sell you a detox, a supplement, or a 30-day plan. I'm here because health advice has gotten so overcomplicated, so full of rules and guilt and contradictions, that most beginners give up before they ever get started. And that's the real problem. Not your diet, not your metabolism, the advice itself. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 most common mistakes I see beginners make when they try to eat healthy. And I'll give you one dead simple swap for each one. Nothing extreme, nothing you need to buy, just habits that actually stick. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is following the eat clean rule without actually knowing what that means. Here's what happens. Someone decides to get healthy. They Google clean eating. They find a list of foods that are clean and foods that are dirty. They try to eat only from a clean list. And for about a week, maybe 2, it works. Then life happens. They eat something dirty. And because they broke the rules, they feel like they failed. So they quit. Sound familiar? The problem with clean eating is that it's a label. And labels create all or nothing thinking. You're either on track or off the rails, and nobody can stay on track forever. That's not a weakness. That's just being human. The swap. Instead of thinking, is this food clean or dirty? Ask one question. How processed is this? Research consistently shows that the more a food is processed, the more it tends to work against your health goals. Whole or minimally processed foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, eggs, legumes, unprocessed meats, those form the foundation. Not because they're clean, because your body actually knows what to do with them. You don't need a list, you don't need rules. Just ask, did this come from the ground, a tree, or an animal? Or did it come from a factory? That one shift removes all the guilt and all the confusion. Okay, mistake number 2, and this one trips up almost every beginner I've seen. It's the urge to cut everything out at once. No sugar, no refined carbs, no alcohol, no processed snacks, no eating after 8 p.m., starting Monday, full reset. I want to ask you something honestly. How many times have you tried that approach? And how many times has it lasted longer than 3 weeks? Here's why it fails. Restriction feels like control, but it's actually just stress. When you take away multiple things at once, your brain registers that as deprivation, and deprived brains are very good at finding ways to rebel. That's where binge eating, cheat days, and I'll start again next Monday come from. This isn't a discipline problem, it's a biology problem. The swap. Instead of cutting things out, add things in. Pick one food you could add to your diet this week, just one. A handful of spinach in your eggs, an apple as an afternoon snack, a glass of water before each meal. When you add something healthy, it naturally crowds out something less healthy, without your brain feeling like it's being punished. The science backs this up. A 2019 study found that people who focused on food additions, rather than restrictions, were significantly more likely to maintain healthy changes at the 6-month mark. Addition beats restriction. Every single time. One food, 1 week. That's it. Before I get into mistake number 3, which honestly might be the biggest one, if you're finding this useful, hit subscribe. I post practical health habits every week, designed specifically for people who are starting out or starting over. No extremes, no fluff. Okay, let's keep going. Mistake number 3, following generic advice that was never designed for your life. Think about where most health advice comes from. It comes from athletes, from people who've been training for years, from influencers who have personal chefs, 2-hour workout windows, and zero stress about what's in the fridge. And then that advice gets packaged up and handed to someone who's working a full-time job, raising kids, running on 6 hours of sleep, and trying to figure out how to eat better for the first time. No wonder it doesn't work. Generic advice assumes you have time, energy, and resources you might not have. And when you can't keep up, you blame yourself. But it was never your fault. It was the wrong starting point. The swap. Pick 2 or 3 habits that actually fit your current life, not your ideal life, your actual life. Can't cook every night? Start by prepping 1 ingredient on Sunday. Cook chicken, a pot of rice, some cut vegetables. That's it. Can't give up your evening snack? Swap it for something with protein. Greek yogurt, a boiled egg, a small handful of nuts. Small changes that fit your reality compound over time into massive results. The research on habit formation is clear. The easier a behavior is to do, the more likely you are to repeat it. Difficulty is the enemy of consistency. Consistency is the only thing that matters for your health long term. So let's bring it all together. Mistake number 1. Following the clean eating label trap. The swap. Stop thinking clean versus dirty. Start thinking about how processed something is. Mistake number 2. Cutting everything out at once. The swap. Add 1 healthy food this week instead of removing 5. Mistake number 3. Following advice built for someone else's life. The swap. Pick 2 or 3 habits that actually fit where you are right now. None of this is complicated. None of it requires a gym membership, a nutrition degree, or superhuman willpower. It just requires starting with the right approach, one that was actually designed for beginners. If this was useful, I'd love to know. Drop a comment with the 1 healthy eating myth you believed for way too long. I genuinely read every one. And if you want more practical, no-nonsense health habits, subscribe. Next week, I'm covering the one thing most beginners skip that makes every other health habit work better. You're not going to want to miss that one.